fact of you continuing to drop in the standings could possibly mean your chances of playoffs are going to get nullified as we load on into Champ Select.
A lot is on the line once again for Nova in particular, especially that they have lost their earlier match against Resurgence. We'll see if the shift in strategy will be different, either playing more on towards bot side aggression and leaving Rocky with the better 1v1 matchup, so Ryan will not have to worry about top side.
Let's go into the bans. Alpha going to be on blue, Nova on red. We're going to start things with the mid lane bans being the priority from both sides. You're not going to see Assassin on his LeBlanc. I almost wonder whether or not Nova are going to also try and draw out maybe the Kassadin ban. Let's see though. Alpha going to get rid of Syndra as well as the Senna.
Remember when Alpha faced Machi, it was LeBlanc, Rek'Sai, and Lee Sin that was banned against Alpha Esports. So these three main champions were the key on Alpha's victory time and time again. So with Nova, that could be a potential Lee Sin ban, perhaps, as we've seen Alpha prioritize that a few times already in the draft.
You got to remember, though, Nova are on red side, so they only have about 2 flexible bans. The last ban should likely be used for that Aphelios. Maybe they feel confident leaving it open. Sometimes teams have been leaving it open against them. Mixcross had his first showing on it. Wasn't extremely impressed by it. Blitzcrank, though, going to be banned out here for Alpha.
Most likely for Pop on the opposite side has been favoring mostly these hook champions, either on the Thresh, either on the Blitzcrank. So there you go. That was a quick lock-in.
Instant lock-in. Aphelios banned out. That. They said, you know what? Lee Sin's available. Kachung has like, what, 4 MVPs on the Bloody Champion? So, of course, they're going to go ahead and lock that one in. Now, on the side of Nova for Ryan, there is the opportunity, if he wishes, to go ahead and take this Elise and not be relegated back onto the Sejuani duty.
Yeah, you can tell that Nova Esports is a little bit hesitating over there if whether or not they will be banning out either Aphelios or perhaps the Lee Sin, but this is the approach in mind coming into the draft, and I guess we're back. I guess we're back on the Rocky Renekton, or it could be flexed here for G4 and playing more towards the mid lane.
There's the possibility that they just try and go for a lot of dives up and toward top lane. That is, you know, kind of what we expected. It's a lot of teams actually are starting to adapt this kind of play style to try and get the top lane just rolling and steamrolling ahead. Rocky's going to have his Renekton as a comfort pick once again. Alpha, though, going to pick up the Kench very early into the draft, so that's going to give Atlan a lot of safety when it comes to the lane, as we're going to see now the Aatrox being the hover, and Rock loves it. But no, do we see the Maokai? We do! So Rock possibly going on to the Maokai?
Yes, I suppose, unless, yeah, I don't see it anywhere else. I mean, we've seen the Maokai support before, but I think it would really suit better at top side. I guess we'll have to see. I can't really say for sure. I'm excited how this draft is going to go. Remember, Alpha Esports does have the tendency to play these interesting drafts and pull a fast one in everyone, especially Nova too. Kalista is open. That could still be Rocky at the top side for Kalista.
Possibly, and maybe we got G4 going on the Renekton, but we do see the Jinx ban now coming out, so, you know, starting to limit a little bit toward the pool of Atlan. For Alpha, though, what mysterious plan do they have for themselves? I have to guess, is this going to be like, you know, protect the Assassin a comp and have them back onto, say, a Kassadin or something that could scale extremely late and just try and, you know, take out carries of Nova? For Alpha, they have the opportunity to experiment. The fact that they are sitting at 7 wins means that Resurgence cannot catch them in the standings, and it means they have a little bit of playroom, considering they still have to play 5 games during this round robin before we head into playoffs. So maybe trying out some new strategies, looking to try and maybe draw some bans when they get into those best of 3, best of 5 scenarios. That might be the overall plan here, and we're just seeing a little bit of experimentation from Alpha.
True, I have a plan. What if Assassin plays another AD carry in the mid lane? If that's going to be Renekton, a Renekton matchup for Assassin, he did see a little bit preview of like the Vayne mid back then. It could be a possibility. It could be the approach. I guess I'm just getting a little bit excited because both of these teams tend to draft in a very interesting manner.
All right, here. Tark, though, getting locked in, so that's going to be a bunch of safety for Mixcross as Pop is able to get the ultimate down. A Galio hover now, so we're really going out here. We're really getting into the weird style of League of Legends. I feel like they're maybe just messing with us at this point. Atlan Ashe, that's a lot more makes sense. It's been a while since we've seen an Ashe. A lot of utility going to be available there for Atlan. And, ooh, baby, do we get to see a Twisted Fate coming out here for Assassin.
I want to see this get locked in. I am not going to get my hopes up just yet, but it fits well. You have more of that ranged advantage over the Renekton.
Okay, Zoe's going to get locked in. That's a lot more.
Okay, all right, yeah. It's a lot more standard.
I fully expect now this Renekton is going to Rocky at this point. I don't think G4 is going to get crazy, as we likely now see the Orianna with the Shockwave. G4, we talk about coin flip for, you know, Cat Jung and Assassin. G4's Orianna, for me, has been a bit of a coin flip, but it's just not going to be that at all. It's going to be the Kiana in the mid lane for G4.
Okay, so Nova Esports were kind of thinking of whether or not G4 would take a step back and be more of the Orianna with all the shields and have massive shockwaves later into the game. But no, it seems to me G4 really wants to take advantage of how, you know, after against this poke mage, after all the skills have been dealt out, that's the go signal for this Kiana to go in. We've seen Kiana picks take off here and there, and I remember the first one that we've seen was Minji's pick. Now it's G4's turn to make this Kiana work.
Yeah, G4 is going to have a Kiana. Now, again, it depends, I think, which G4 we're going to see coming out here. Last time he was playing the melee like the Silas, he ran into the middle of 5 members. He loved Roman, though, and that's what I want to see here with his Kiana, if he can try and get ahead in the lane against Assassin and then try and make impacts elsewhere on the map.
I'm going to be a little bit worried for Alpha Esports in general, as that's a pretty strong composition, snowbally composition rather, coming from Nova Esports. If they manage to get that head start, maybe get a 2-0 on towards the Renekton, towards Rocky, then it will be a little bit difficult to get back into the game.
Well, let's go ahead. We're going to load on into the Rift. We're getting over a bit toward the afternoon here, as it's a golden hour, it seems, on the Rift. For Nova, imperative that they take home the victory here to try and squeeze out of range of Resurgence on their climb back in the standings. Alpha as well currently sit toward a longer, a little bit more room, like we mentioned, to experiment. Try out this Maokai in the top lane for Rock. We've never seen Rock play anything like this.
That's the thing. We've never ever seen him play into a more tanky utility type of champion for Rock. This is definitely a shift of style. He was thinking about, maybe Alpha was thinking about getting more comfort picks for Rock, like the Aatrox. He has played that, I think, for 10 times already in the PCS, but it is definitely more needed to get more utility for Assassin and Atlan. But speaking of experimentation, Opal, G4 on the Predator. Kiana?
Yeah, so we're going to see another Predator. This pretty much means G4 has to roam. If he doesn't roam, I'm going to be very angry. I think it's the best way to put the summary of my opinions on whether or not you should be running Predator. I love Predator in the mid lane, but it really is pretty much G4 saying, all right, I need to be able to get out of this lane and then make impacts elsewhere on the map. It's very reminiscent to kind of the playstyle that we saw from Doenby back in the World Championship last year, where he would take the Predator on the Kiana, would tank the lane completely, but he was able to get his side lanes ahead.
True, is definitely not playing for the lane for Assassin, but definitely playing for the style that we've seen with Nova Esports when they face against J-Team. It was definitely constant roams, and now Ryan is level 3. Let's see where this Elise will go, as the previous game with Elise didn't pan out so well.
Let's see Ryan. He's just making a little bit of a roam over, as that's going to be G4. Jumping forward, able to get the root, but unfortunately, G4 taking a decent chunk of damage. Ryan over to the side of the wall. Assassin's kind of stuck here. He's waiting for Catjung to actually join back on in. The Cocoon's not going to land, and now here comes Catjung over toward the side. Ryan's in a little bit of a pickle, ends up rappelling over to safety here. Catjung needs to land that Q, not able to find it though, as Ryan is forced to flash away in a very messy setup coming out from Nova early on.
Typical Catjug plays as a ward by the Raptor area and scare off the jungler, the opposing jungler, and that is a 3-buff start for Catjug. This is all according to plan. Usually what he does is either get a kill, get first blood in this particular area. They really favor the blue side, as this allows them to do this sort of strategy. There's no kill, but at least they managed to get a few camps off of Ryan. Well,
Ryan's going to try it again, but Ryan, he doesn't have flash to go over this at this point. He does have a repel, but Catjung's just going to come on back down. Repel is going to be there. Sleep time trouble bubble does land. Paddlestar interrupted by the Raptors, and is just a consistent struggle here in mid lane.
Absolutely, especially that we already this is deja vu. For the third time around, I suppose this could be another, as we've seen Ryan. This is very familiar. We'll have to see, because Assassin has been playing towards that side of the map, more on the mid lane, knowing the fact that Catjug is around that area. So you know he's going to be safe, especially that Catjug already scared off Ryan in his own jungle at red side, so you know where it is.
Ryan. He got a little sad that his Raptors reset. Coming back, though, into the mid lane. It's going the route, and that's going to be the Ignite pop as well. Repel on down. Ryan secures first blood in mid lane. Able to get over to safety, but here comes Catjung over toward the side. He should be able to trade back the kill, at least in the very end. It's a 1-for-1, as the junglers will pick up the kills. G4 now has to back off. Kino looking for a roam. They are able to spot him out with the scout, but he will get to safety.
Okay, I thought Catjug really wants this. He's going.
Oh, Catjug flashes over. Oh, he's able to get the kill! Going over the minions, and he finishes off G4.
Like, I understand, usually when you see minions blocking your Q, usually you just, okay, I'm out. But Catjug had flash. He was going in. He knew what to do. My word, this guy is just very aggressive, and it's paying off.
And we saw the plan here from the very beginning. Nova wanted to try and get G4 ahead in the lane. They finally got a kill. Ryan gets the kill credited, at least in the end. But then Catjung, it's just such a messy attempt coming out from Nova that ends up hurting them more than it helps.
We've seen them a little bit more desperate in the previous game, trying to make things happen here and there. But let's take a look at this flashy play again. Literally, flashy play, as G4 dove in, especially that you couldn't do anything anymore as the Q connected. Therefore, hoping to get an exchange kill with that dash in. But G4 already level 5, close to level 6, which means we can potentially see more aggressive plays which we've seen already in the first few minutes of this match.
Well, we talked about him using Predator. He now has actually rushed his tier 2 boots as his first item, and I believe those are just the Boots of Swiftness, so you didn't go for the Mobies, but it will require him to make plays, and during that replay, actually, they were able to find a kill on Assassin.
Nicely done, coming from Nova Esports, and Catjug is now forced to be, actually, he has really not much of a choice. It's going to be more on this mid lane, and at this point, we'll have to see for Nova, since they're trying to get G4 ahead.
I've seen this again. Supreme display of talent into the Cocoon. Kino, though, able to eat up the Zoe to keep her alive a little bit longer. G4 not able to finish off the kill. Paddlestar going to come back, does not connect. Tongue Lash is going to be there from Kino, but Nova are not able to finish off the kill, and the plan continues here as Nova just want to continually dive and dive again onto Assassin to try and put him behind.
Yeah, that's a small window for the flash of Assassin to come back online. Meanwhile, Rock
Gonna go pretty aggressive here. Pops the Dominus immediately, and now Rock in a little bit of a tussle. Again, it's Rocky versus Rock. Who's the better Rock is the question, as Katjung is going to end up kicking him back over toward the side. And unfortunately, in a 2v1, Rocky can't do a whole lot. Still gets the damage off. He gets the double kill in the 1v2. And Rocky proves his worth on his favorite champion.
That is how Nova Esports is going to snowball. That is definitely not what you want. We did mention once the Renekton gets like a 2-0-0 at the start of the game, that's when things could potentially snowball. And this was actually a really good bait from Alpha Esports, but I think they got a little bit too confident, knowing that the stacks coming in from the stacks from the heel rather coming from a Renekton. Oh dear, that was beautiful. And getting turret plates on top of all that.
All right, so Rocky's a scary Renekton now. Unfortunately, you saw there Rock just did not have any mana to really contribute to the fight anymore, even though he had cooldowns. Unfortunately, Katjung, just a sliver of health before killing Rocky. So now Rocky, he's going to have 2 kills. He's almost got a completed Black Cleaver. He'll get it on his next back as he's got the Phage and Kindle Gem. And you know what? For Nova, it's not looking too bad. The only lane we haven't seen action is this bot lane. And that's a good sign, actually, because now Mixcross has actually found himself a bit of a CS lead.
Yeah, and with Mixcross right now, I mean, from the start, at the start of the split, I think he was a little bit, there were high expectations for him that he didn't reach, but he has improved a lot over the course of the PCS, and it's just really, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to be proud of him with his performance now. And right now, with Nova Esports, we did mention that normally you put Rocky in a comfortable lane with a 1v1.
That is sneaky.
Oh, the sapling!
That is so sneaky. Ryan's able to do this. Catcher just walked by and he didn't actually see into the pit. They haven't seen him. G4's going to roll him over. Nova are able to sneak away this Rift Herald.
It's the padding of the, what do you call this? The blast cone over there to avoid any sort of detection of the usual ward placement over at that pixel brush. And therefore, it's difficult. But yeah, this has been the trend. Now that Rocky is 2-0-0, that means Ryan can just leave top lane B, leave Rocky B, and focus more on G4, or maybe relieve pressure over at bot side, which I don't think is needed at the moment since Mixcross has a CS lead, just as you mentioned.
You know what's starting to turn into a bit of the Rocky horror show here if you're on the side of Alpha. He's going to get scarier as this game goes, and especially now that he's got himself almost a 2-level lead. He's got 40 CS on top of Rock and the 2 kills. Yeah, no, this Maokai's going to have some trouble staying in the lane. Luckily for him, it is going to get pushed back to a second-tier tower, so I think Rocky isn't going to be as aggressive. I expect Katjung to try and maybe provide a little bit of safety, but so far for Nova, it's now a 2,500 gold lead, and the plan has seemed to work, at least at the beginning of this game.
Yeah, and it all came to draft, really. Alpha Esports had the choice of either matching the 1v1 with Rocky or play the more team fight-oriented champion, and they went with Maokai and that's the reason why Nova said, like, it's like the go signal for them to be a little bit more comfortable at top side. And Alpha Esports, they have to slow this game down and wait for the Renekton to be a little bit less threatening. But looking at how the game is right now for Nova, they'll be happy to take this and push on with their lead, as we've seen that happen many times before, especially with Rocky on the Renekton.
And true, like G4, though he hasn't been able to, say, dominate the lane, he does at least have the kill pressure. And Assassin has had to go immediately into a Seeker's Arm Guard, be a lot more defensive in his build path to start off the game. And Ryan's also nearby, going to try and clear out some vision. That's going to force Assassin to maybe just look to try and play back. We've yet to see G4 go for the roam with the Predator, but I think once he's able to start getting this push in and get the threat that Assassin has to play back, we'll start seeing the Kiana roam.
And that is absolutely the plan for Nova Esports. And right now, I think the situation is more of, you know, Nova always has these lanes meeting in the middle for both bot lanes of Alpha and Nova, rather. and therefore G4 keeping Assassin on a tight leash.
Well, Cocoon does land. The other question now for Alpha is, because of Rocky consistently pushing in this lane, he's also starting to invade into Catjung's jungle. He's starting to siphon off a little bit of gold here and there by taking these camps, as well as getting vision for himself so he stays safe. This is a change of gameplay that we wanted to see from Rocky, where he gets a lead and he's not being over aggressive without vision coverage.
Yeah, and he's definitely going to be safe for the time being, especially that Ryan has been very active on this Elise, so Catjung is always forced to match that.
Speaking of Catjung, he's going to go over the wall, ends up hopping the Q immediately, and Ryan gets the Cocoon on down. The kick is there. He's able to get over toward the side, flashes over to safety, but the Ash arrow able to connect. Catjung is going to be able to find a kill. Mixed Cross going to bring Pop back to safety, but it's 5 members of Alpha in the bot lane as they just collapse here to deny the second Drake.
Alpha had priority over a bot side, so the collapse was easier for them over Ryan. And at that point, we see Rocky, I suppose, getting more turret plates on the mid lane. So first dragon, actually second dragon of the game will go to Alpha Esports. It's going to be 1 apiece. That was a good snipe coming from Atlan as well.
Yeah, we're seeing him on the Ash for the first time here. Let's take another look as Catjung, even though, he felt a little bit behind his Lee Sin, he is always aggressive.
Definitely, there's insane damage coming from the Lee Sin. So for Elise to bump into Catjung, especially such as Catjung, who's a very expert player when it comes to this Lee Sin pick, definitely going to be scary for Ryan, but it's not the end of the world. We still see Rocky farming peacefully in the side lanes. He tried to go and respond to the fight at Riverside, but they weren't in a position to do so, especially that Nova Esports bot lane has been pushed in their own tower.
You can see there, turret plates in favor of Nova all the way. Majority of that on Rocky, as he was able to get his tower early on in the game. And that's kind of the big thing here for Nova, is a lot of the gold lead relies on Rocky. It's currently all on this Renekton. He's already got the Black Cleaver completed. He's almost got himself his Bork as well online before 15 minutes. It's a pretty insane pace he's going at right now. You'd like to see him start being involved in fights, and I don't want to see him always just being in the side lane pushing. I would like to see him go for a teleport, try and go for a dive, because you see Alpha, they're able to catch out little members here and there. The flash forward into the arrow. Kino able to eat him up here shortly. The exhaust is also there. Has to pop his heal as well to get to safety, as unfortunately not the play they were looking for, as Pop is almost caught out.
Yeah, they've invested a lot. Alpha Esports invested a lot. That's going to be a flash bubble.
And Assassin hits the target, and there it is. Catjung able to pick up a kill. And even though G4 is feeling confident, trying to be aggressive here on the Kiana, he still finds himself in danger. Mixed Cross, though, going for the 1v1. He has the Ren stacks available, gets the lethal tempo to get a little bit extra damage. Not able to finish off the kill. Here comes, though, the Kenches. Now Kino able to sidestep away from the stun. Is there primarily to keep his bot lane safe, and now Rocky on the hunt for Catjung. And Catjung, he does not care if there's a Renekton on top of him. He's a slippery Lee Sin and gets himself to safety. Now Assassin, though, down toward the bot lane. Predator was popped by picking it up off G4, and that's going to force out the ultimate. Let's take another look here as how G4 gets deleted.
The question has been answered. What does Alpha do if they don't get Rek'Sai, LeBlanc, and Lee Sin? Actually, the question was not answered. They still get their Lee Sin. They're still doing great against Nova Esports to try and balance the threat that Rocky has put on the map in the attempt of shutting him down earlier. But now with that said, they've gotten another kill on towards G4. The big question is, how does Nova Esports translate this lead on Rocky to try and slow down this crazy LDL duo, Catjung and Assassin, here for Alpha Esports? And so far, Rocky has been very satisfied farming it up, probably going to finish off maybe the Bork first before anything else, before Nova Esports decides to be more aggressive.
You see there, Rocky can just clear out the waves as he's going to head on back to base. He should have enough for the Blade of the Rune King, as he currently has both items secured, as second Rift Herald going to come out. look to knock down this mid lane tower, and with that, G4 should be able to now finally be unlocked and look to roam around the map. And next target for Nova is going to be toward the bot side here of Atlan and Kino.
Indeed, they will definitely plant a lot of vision out there in the deeper parts of Alpha's jungle, so that's more control over them, which enables them to be a little bit more comfortable taking this bottom lane tower. They are lying in wait as G4 still in his own lane for now.
Still in his own lane, but does have the Predator available, so we'll see if he goes for the roam once he clears this out. Maybe a little bit later than they hoped for. We're kind of getting close now to that 20-minute mark. We're also going to have a Cloud Drake, so naturally now there's also just extra move speed on the map as, again, Mixed Cross getting aggressive here with that lethal tempo, can just keep on laying down the Ren stacks. As G4 is looking for an opportunity, trying to find out Cat Jung or any of the lone members of Alpha.
Indeed, and I really like Mixed Cross's performance right now. You can see he's more confident, he's more sure entering into these matchups.
Cat Jung does land the Q to spot out Rocky and G4. I like that Rocky's now joined in with the rest of the team. Mixed Cross taking a little bit of damage. Has to back off.
Aurelia activated for a pop. The dragon has now spawned. Nova Esports still lying in wait, lurking around to see if they can get a quick pick-off on any of the members of Alpha Esports. But this is the time we're going to see a Renekton supposedly explode with 2 items already completed. Rocky is right there, lurking.
I'm shocked G4 didn't actually try and go for the ultimate there along the wall to try and find them. But
Oh,
it is.
there.
He's going to get 3 members. Luckily for the Ashe, they were taking a safety. Taric ultimate's going to come on down. It's going to interrupt a little bit of the damage. Kino is going to go into stasis. The stun is not going to land. Bubble does land, though, back on over to Rock. And that is a huge, huge knock-up coming out from the Maokai. But unfortunately, nothing is able to be taken down. You can see all the summoner spells on the ground. Assassins just picking them up like candy. But unfortunately, they're not going to be able to get anything else here as both sides are able to disengage.
Well, okay, so that was another almost pick off. And you're right, it is both a retreating trend for Alpha, Nova rather. Assassin though.
Over to the side, Pop takes a decent chunk of damage. That's going to be Alpha getting an inside track on mid lane and taking down the first tier tower in mid of Nova's Assassin, still picking up all the summoners left on the ground from the previous fight. And with that priority, they should be able to turn back and go for the Cloud Drake, which for Alpha's composition is actually amazing to have this ult cooldown reduction on your Ashe, on your Maokai. Nova, though, they don't want to let this go without a fight. Kino's going to try and jump on over toward the side. Nova, though, find their way into the pit. Dragon is secured over toward Alpha. Mixed Cross ends up using his ultimate. He's getting the stacks on down, and Rock and Assassin are both going to fall along with Atlan. It's 3 members down for Alpha in exchange for the Cloud Drake.
That was what Nova Esports has been waiting for. Everyone grouping as 5 for Alpha Esports. That is quite a relatively long death timers, especially they're going for this Baron. Cat Jug is still alive. They have no idea that this is happening, especially at this point of the game.
The thing,
So
though,
now,
about this comp, you got 2 Borks on your side, so you can rip apart this Baron very fast.
exactly, and that's the reason why, you know, it's going to be a fast Baron for Nova Esports. And right now, we'll see if Cat Jug will be able to stop any of the ports. Looks like that's going to be a no.
Not going to be able to, and with that, it's going to be about a 5,500 goal lead here for Nova. Again, Nova, a victory here gets them out of range of Resurgence in the standings if they're able to make the run back possible and actually secure themselves likely playoffs off the next win they're able to find it. Starts off with the Dragon being taken by Alpha.
Yeah, no one was able to sort of ruin Mixed Cross's kiting, and at this point of the game, it's not Mixed Cross that you have to be afraid of.
Oh, Rocky. You've done this before. He's halfway through the map, doesn't have vision. 3 members of Alpha coming over toward the side. Make it 4 as Atlan's also going to show himself. That likely means the call will be made, though, on the bot side of the map. to try and go for a play, maybe try and take a tower. As Rocky is keeping 4 members of Alpha occupied. They get the shutdown, but guess what? Nova are just going to go ahead and start taking towers.
That is a lot of members invested to eliminate Rocky here, and that could be a cash-in. That is a cash-in for sure, but there was no vision for for Nova Esports rather, on that top side, but I suppose it was pretty much worth, as this enables a the bottom lane take.
Gets himself out of safety with the help of G4. Has the supreme display of talent, able to knock back the team. Nova, during all that, were able to secure 2 towers down in bot lane, so they get themselves a lot of freestanding gold and keep their Baron buff positive for right now. It's not been the greatest, but it has been at least able to get some of the freestanding gold on the map. Yeah,
2 towers at bot side in exchange for a death. I say that's pretty worth. And right now, CatJug is 5-1-0. The laning phase is over already for the game. So for CatJug, he always goes towards interesting entries like the Raptors or behind enemy lines so that he can get a key kick. But the problem is they do have a Taric ult, so that is absolutely a good deny for such plays coming from CatJug. But on the other side of the spectrum, good news for Assassin still. Not a lot of defensive items on Nova Esports, so they can definitely still sort of burst down squishy targets on the side of Nova.
So with that, Nova gonna reset toward the top side of the map. Mixcross and Rocky gonna be grouped. You also got the rest of Nova hiding within the jungle. Luckily though, with that Ashe pick, they're able to scout out without a whole lot of vision being available to them. Baron buff though still active, now is going to dissipate. Alpha, maybe looking for a play. There comes the engage coming out. It's going to be Supreme Display of Talent onto 3 members. Maokai Ultimate trying to disengage. It is Rocky, though, able to find the kill on Atlan, and the Taric Ultimate finally goes on down. Mixcross is going to be taken out, and that's your consistent DPS. Rocky, though, has to make up for it, as he is a big Renekton into the base of the side of Alpha. It's still just going to be 2 members taken down here, as Nova, with no ability of taking well, they do have the ability to take towers. Mixcross might be dead, but Rocky is still huge. Alpha are the ones, though, they don't have the Ashe nor the Zoe to clear out the wave.
Yeah, they have no means of defense and had to watch the inhibitor fall as they've lost another fight. This is the result. I imagine that portion of that game on where Rocky gets that 1v2, wins that 1v2, and CatJug making his way towards the Gromp, or putting a little bit more vision.
And then let's take another look toward this dive. Starts off with G4 on the engage.
Now this is a magnificent engage coming from G4, but at the same time, really nice roots coming from the Maokai as they dive in. Big problem is that Taric ult, so it just cancels a lot of damage in the short span of time. Therefore, everyone from Alpha Esports is either low already or the key carries are eliminated.
Here we go, though. Dragon going to be started up. CatJug is nearby, but with Mixcross and Ryan being there, they're able to take down the Dragon very fast and able to deny that away from Alpha.
This is, again, very reminiscent of what happened in their first game, where it was Rocky once again that took off and basically destroyed everyone else, as he got an insane lead at the early phases of the game and now is felt by Alpha Esports whenever they engage into team fights against Nova. But now it's a different story. It is basically a 1v2. I don't think Ryan visited the lane at all. It was basically a 1v2 situation in comparison to G4 and Ryan investing their resources for Rocky at topside in the previous game where they faced Alpha.
Yeah, and another thing to note is, you know, Mixcross and Pop have had themselves actually a rather good game. Let's take another look. I believe this is just CatJug able to spot out Ryan and almost take him down, but unfortunately for CatJug, he had to keep running.
Keep running, but the damage from G4.
So
that
Nom!
Nice
Only
shields.
issue there. So many shields, so G4 is not able to pick up the kill. That does mean, though, Nova will be able to exert pressure toward the top side of the map, try and get some vision down, because we're going to have Baron coming up in less than 30 seconds.
And you can see how CatJug really likes to make these plays at the later phases of the game. But the problem is, yes, he's 5-1-1. Most of the damage or gold. Okay, I was a little bit worried that something might have been starting there. But because the laning phase is over, everyone's practically together. So the assassination potential is quite diminished for Alpha Esports, as Nova will always be together. And right now with Nova, they do have control of that Baron, and therefore will probably start that after getting a pick here and there, or because they have a lot of shred, you know, with Mix Cross in the Callista, it will definitely be a very easy Baron for them.
You can also see G4 is looking to position himself for a top flank here. Also has the Predator available. May try and pop it. Assassin's a little bit too close to the action. And then instantly that's going to be G4 jumping in onto the Zoe. Meanwhile, though, the rest of Nova trying to collapse, and they get rid of G4. It's a little bit too late, though, because you can see Nova are just advancing here at this point. They take down Kino. 2 members for 1. CatJug is still alive, though, on the Lee Sin as they turn back toward the Baron.
Baron has resetted. And there's still a lot of life steal to work with for most of the Nova members.
Here we go. CatJug able to land the Q onto the Spider. 8,000 health. Mixed Cross still applying those stacks. Again, you got a reminder that the Callista was changed. They said get off the Baron and goes directly onto Assassin. The kit back, though, from CatJug. Atlan is still alive, and he's on this Ashe and able to carry back the fight as Alpha are able to respond off the heels of CatJug and Atlan. It's the ace.
Nicely done by Alpha Esports, finishing everybody else. But the problem is, G4 is alive, and there's a teleport coming from Alpha Esports. So that's 3 members, as G4 will probably try to attempt something. He doesn't have ult yet.
He got Predator, though, and he's going to start running over toward the side there. Unfortunately, he's going to get interrupted. Has Flash available, but what can he do at this point? It's inevitable. He's going to get taken down. Resonating Strike. It's another technical ace for Alpha, and they secure the Baron. And like that, the gold lead that Nova were able to build over the course of this game starts crumbling down.
Take note, this Renekton time and time again will eventually fall off coming into the later phases of the game, and Alpha Esports is just prepared for that. As we see this fight, Rocky, all of the exhausts quite funneled towards this Renekton pick, and basically we saw them start the Baron once again, but Atlan, no one was there to deal with Atlan. I think Nova Esports still had a lot of respect for CatJug and Assassin, so they were definitely the primary targets, and all of the CC in the world were very invested on Alpha. No one, look at the free hits from Atlan.
Yeah, Atlan is able to just get away with this. He's got Runehands, he is an Ashe. Again, Ashe does a ton of damage the later the game goes. He's also got Bork, so he could deal with Rocky, and the enhanced Q is very good. Let's see, can they at least get the GA off CatJug? He's able to safeguard away, and he will escape with his life.
Yeah, no flash burnt for, it just came online actually for CatJug, so that's going to be good. And yeah, even Executioners to add more things against Nova Esports here, so this is going to be very tricky.
Let's see here, Nova have to back off. A decent amount of respect being given now, as the confidence, I think, has been broken that they were able to build up such a massive gold lead and have it just crash down here over the course of just 1 or 2 team fights. G4 gonna pop his Predator over toward the side, looking for a flank. Does Nova try and go for this play? You got Rocky over toward the side. The bubble is going to land. They get a decent amount of damage. There is a supreme display of talent, though. Rocky immediately onto Atlan, and that's the Ashe on down. There's your consistent DPS, and the Taric ultimate is absolutely huge coming out from Pop. CatJug, though, goes back in the engage. It's a massive call of fate, though, coming through, and it's a double kill for the Callista, and Nova are able to wipe the board clean once again. CatJug, only member alive, trying to hold on.
That was quite unfortunate positioning. The backline was just open for Rocky to take. I want to see this again. It all started with Alpha chunking down the dragon, and they spot out Rocky. Then Atlan and Assassin were too far forward trying to burst down Rocky. And without your win condition, without Atlan present in a team fight, then it's basically just everyone from Nova piling in towards Assassin. That was definitely not intended for Alpha Esports to happen.
And it's also just huge because you have Mixcross that can use the Fate's Call to just bring Pop back and throw him back into the fight like we just saw. Gets a 3-man knockup. And without that consistent DPS, it just becomes who can take down the carry or who's going to try and just jump into the rest of the fight. Atlan and Kino are going to join on over. Maokai Ultimate's going to come back. Mixcross is exhausted. He's still able to get a decent amount of auto attacks off, though. It's going to be the kill going on over to Katjung. And Katjung again lands a Q, jumps right back on in. Supreme Display of Talent is going to interrupt the fight once again, but still, Mixcross gets taken down. Katjung is an absolute maniac when it comes to the blind monk. He can see everyone, it seems. Now Rocky goes down into the sleep. Assassin trying to kite on back, still able to get over toward the side, goes back into stasis, and it looks like Nova still have been able to hold on. But Katjung, are you serious? This man does not wish to lose, gets the kick once again, and he is able to carry this fight on the Lee Sin.
He's playing out of his mind.
He's not, he doesn't care at this point. He's just looking to preoccupy Nova. Look at the base though. Minion's gonna start knocking onto the Nexus towers. And man, if there was a way to give MVP over to a man if he loses, Katjung is almost deserving of it.
I am absolutely delighted every single time he picks this champion because we know that eventually Lee Sins in general will fall off in the later phases of the game, but this guy does not. He makes it work, and that was just so a prolonged fight. It was Katjung that started it off.
Yeah, Katjung goes for the engage, and then you have Kino and Atlan who join in, but unfortunately, you threw Atlan into the middle of the fight, so he has to stay so far back, he's not able to do anything.
And Katjung still has a lot of rent stacks. He waited for them to expire and then goes in. Mixcross was definitely did not see that coming, and Katjung held on to his Guardian Angels and just waited for cooldowns before entering and exiting the fight. Best part is there are wards placed everywhere in each corner of the map, so he can actually go dive out rather. And there's the kick. And he's done. He's like, I'm out. I'm satisfied with the kills that I've done.
And the fact, though, is he's able to actually preoccupy Nova for long enough that they don't go and try and finish off the game. You now also have Alpha that are looking at possibly a Cloud Soul. Like, if there's anyone here, it's Katjung on your map right now, on your screen. This guy, 13-1-2 on the Lee Sin. His GA is about halfway through its cooldown, so I don't expect him to be as crazy aggressive as we've been seeing him before, but there's a little bit of a timer still on Alpha. There's still a little bit of hope that they can somehow magically outplay these fights.
And the thing is, since they've drafted this more on rock, on more of the utility, in terms of at least you have some sort of wave clear, but not exactly as powerful as like maybe an Aatrox would want to push or a Renekton. Alpha though, for Nova, you're right. Their confidence is crumbling a little bit as this game was supposed to be sort of over after the past 2 Barons for Nova. But now they're having a hard time closing this game, and we've seen this before.
And it turns into this situation too where Assassin is just fishing for bubbles, just trying to catch out members of Nova. Assassin, I don't know what it is. Unfortunately, all the energy went to Katjung this game because he's currently sitting on a 0-7 Zoe. This is possibly the worst performance we've ever seen from Assassin. But it's going to get to this point where Assassin, he kind of turns similar to an Elise where he's just a bubble bot, where he's just trying to pick off key members of Nova. And if he's able to land it in the late game, there's a possibility, especially around these Dragon Pits.
Yeah, but the thing is, Nova Esports is not exactly building defensively just, okay, there's a fight.
Pop goes in for the engage, able to get the multi-man stun. Rocky is going to get exhausted. Katjung, though, is going to rejoin in onto the fight. 5 members of Alpha. G4 looking for a flank, but they're going to be caught out toward the side if they're not careful. G4 able to sidestep away from the Q. Dominus was popped by Rocky immediately, trying to go for this fight. And Alpha are somehow just spreading apart Nova in such a way that they cannot communicate well enough. And that gives inside track toward the Dragon.
And now they've prevented the Dragon take.
Here we go. Engage coming out from G4, able to get the stun there onto Catchung. He's still alive, and he gets a massive amount of damage. Takes down G4. It's a 1-for-1 shutdown, though, does go on over. Mixed Cross, though, enters in onto the fray, and Pop helps lead the charge. It's a double kill for Assassin, but meanwhile, Atlan and Kino are having to kite back for their life. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to land. Rocky, though, with the flash engage. It's going to be Kino getting him back to safety. Still no GA pops, and Kino and Atlan are able to survive.
Beautiful escape by Alpha Esports, but at the same time, Nova Esports found Catjug in the middle of everything, eliminated the biggest threat right now in Alpha Esports team. It was supposed to be Atlan, but right now he's dealing a ton of damage with his Lee Sin, 13-2-4 right now. They deny the Dragon Soul away from Alpha Esports, and therefore the next Dragon will definitely be a huge fight, a huge contest.
And for Nova, they thought they had this. They got the jump onto Catchung, but they just weren't able to finish him.
It was Assassin that dealt a huge amount of damage. But at the same time, everyone else from Alpha Esports who needed more peel had to deal with the Taric and as well as the Renekton diving on towards their carry. And yeah, I did mention about defensive itemization from Nova Esports, and therefore Alpha can still take advantage of that. Now it's starting to be that phase of the game where, you know, you're starting to see Guardian Angels, you're starting to see stopwatches, and maybe perhaps even Edge of Night for a couple of these players for Nova Esports, which is going to be a little bit painful for Assassin later on.
It's kind of coming down whether or not you can kill Atlan during these fights. Rocky has still had his GA, though, available for the last couple of fights. He's flamed Horizon Rock at this point. Mixed Crosses might be your engagement. Cross, he ends up walking into the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Pop, though, is still there. Ends up popping the ultimate. It's a full commit onto Mixed Cross, but they're not able to deal enough damage to take him down immediately. Rock goes into stasis. He's a tree, and he's going to get cut down. Catchung goes in for the miracle kick. It's not going to happen, though. He gets put down into the ground. He'll go into stasis, resurrecting from the Guardian Angel, but the target is on his back. Nova are hungry, and they're going to sink their fangs into him as Ryan able to find the kill. Assassin has to jump on back toward the rest of his team, but Nova take down 2 members of Alpha.
And just as we mentioned on how the defensive items will really hurt Alpha Esports, that stopwatch prevented any sort of a playmaking kick from Catjug. Long death timers, Nova Esports are marching towards the base.
And with that, inhibitor is going to be cracked once again. They have 5 minions in mid lane, 40 minutes on the clock. Alpha, the death timers might be just too long. Rocky still has a GA. Ryan is able to jump in onto Atlan, and G4 is able to show him why he is queen. And like that, Nova are able to find their victory, widen the gap between them and Resurgence, and look to secure a playoffs position.
Amazing game from Nova Esports. They just replicated what they've done so far in the whole PCS, what has bring the success, and it worked out so well for them. And again, it started with the 2-0-0 1v2 by Rocky, and it just made things so much harder for Alpha Esports.
No, it was a ridiculous game to say the very least, and you gotta commend why this Lee Sin is banned away from Catjug. Like, considering how far his team was behind, the bloody man, he brought his entire team on his back. It finally broke in the end, though, as unfortunately he just wasn't able to make that miracle play for the 3rd or 5th time in the game.
Especially considering you're Lee Sin, we did mention, like, you know, sort of similar to the Elise. Eventually, you know, your laning phase is the most strongest point, but then eventually you will fall off. But Catjug really made it work. But then again, Nova Esports, I was a little bit worried for them, especially as the timers were getting a little bit longer. But at the end of the day, they managed to find their huge problem, which was Catjug, eliminate him, and therefore not a lot to work with anymore for Alpha Esports' side.
And you know, for Alpha too, it's a little bit of an unfortunate situation now where you poured your heart into this game, and you're actually going to have to play the very next game because Liav's match was postponed. They're having to go against Hong Kong Attitude immediately once again. So let's go ahead and take a look toward the final team fights.
This one was Alpha Esports' control over the Dragon. This is their first major mistake where they already won the previous fight at the Baron Pit. but they were too excited and tried to collapse on Rocky. Take note, he is just massive at this point of the game already, and he will really shred down all of those squishy targets like Assassin on the Zoe and Ash on Atlan. So I don't think it was the best decision in mind, but I think they got really excited because they found, you know, the big problem from Nova Esports.
Yeah, unfortunately for that, it's just, you can't do anything about it at that point. So again, it's congratulations for Nova, and I really have to question, you know, this team is so swing heavy. They lost to Resurgence at the start of the day. They were able to fight back and take down Alpha. And they also widened the gap when it comes to the playoff position between them and the 9th and 10th placing teams. So now Resurgence are not able to catch Nova in their current state when they have 7 wins. Alpha, though, they're still in a good position. They're still in the mid-pack of the standings, and they have an opportunity to widen the gap against Hong Kong Attitude, which is going to be our next match. So be sure to stick around as we go ahead and take a short break.